Yes, don't forget to check out Doggie Diamonds No Filter, the actual audio version of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify. I'm also back on SoundCloud, all your podcast streaming platforms that you love and your preference. If you don't know how to get there, the links are right below in the description box. You can just go down there. Also, for $100, I promote whatever you need on my social medias and my website. That's my Twitter, Facebook, Insta Stories, YouTube community, and my website, www.doggiediamondstv.com. Hit me up on Instagram at Doggie Diamonds for your promo. Serious inquiries only. Serious inquiries only. Not no games. Also, man, listen, you got to make sure you go to www.theinterviewking.com. Sign up for the email list to get access to the new content. What that is that all you're doing is you're putting your email in. And when I upload new content or I do new content, it's going to come to your email. You know we can't rely on YouTube to do mail outs for us. So we do it ourselves. You're not going to get anything to your email but the content. Let's go. Okay. This is a special show for me. I'm happy. You know, I always say that about a lot of stuff, but this one, I really mean it this time. We're going to get into some things today. Fasten your seatbelt, sit back. If you drink, get you a tea. If you smoke, don't do it. Don't do it today because you need to be attentive. You're going to get some information. You're going to get some jewelry dropped on you. It is what it is. All right, stop the music, stop the music, really stop the music. What's up, everybody? I go by the name of Doggie Diamonds. This is Doggie Diamonds TV. I just did about 300 push-ups. See, I can't even talk. I'm still on the pre-workout, but I just did about 300 push-ups, 100 dips. I'm going back to finish my workout, but this right here is very, very, very important show. Introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Curtis Scoon.
Okay.
Owner of ScoonTV.com, top of the food chain films, and a couple other companies.
So they might say, Curtis Scoon, I heard that name, but where do they definitely know you from?
Not where I would like them to know me from, but yeah, my wrongful implication in the death of Jam Master Jay 20 years ago. Yeah,
which you've been exonerated because they caught the alleged real people who did it.
Well, I don't feel satisfied until there's a conviction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the people that they have are guilty or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, though, that bad press was the motivating factor for me to get on social media and change the narrative about me, because prior to my introduction to social media, you would Google me, and that's the only thing that would come up. And that's not a good thing, you know. A lot of people are proud of stuff like that, but I'm not one of them.
Me knowing you, you shy away from things in your past that you could really monetize. You really could, you could be a billionaire right now if you took some of the trauma that you've been through, and some of the trauma you've been around, and some of the trauma that you afflicted, and you could be up right now. Why do you shy away from that person that you were?
You know, when you know better, you do better. And also for me, never in my life did I do wrong and think it was right. When I did wrong, I was conscious. I was aware that it was wrong. I just didn't care, you know. So I don't plead ignorance or act like I'm a victim of anything. I made up my mind to do wrong. And now I've made up my mind to do right. And actually, you know, it's a bit ironic because my wrongful implication came at a time when my life was transitioning, where I was struggling because I didn't want to do wrong. And then I got hit with that situation. But it's like I often say, a blessing and a curse can be one and the same, the difference being in the application. So even though it seemed really bad at the time, and it was a pivotal moment in my life, even though it seemed really bad at the time, it was the beginning of all the good things that I'm doing now. So if you was to ask me, do I have any regrets? Nah, man, I think all things perpetuate destiny.
Was it a epiphany? Was it did you find a new spiritual system? Did you go to church? What was it that came over you that made you say, this shit is for the birds. I don't want to live like this no more.
You know, it's funny you say that. It was an epiphany of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hit like rock bottom,
Mm-hmm.
not rock bottom, but you know, I was down. I was staying with some with some friends in Ravenswood in Long Island City, and I was sitting on the bench, and I looked up at the sky, and I asked the cosmos. I said, "Who the fuck am I?" And the answer came back to me immediately. It was, "You're a salesman and you don't have a product to sell." Because all my life I've been selling. I've sold everything. Fireworks from the time I was 11, 12. I'd go to Chinatown from Queens and then go over to Little Italy because I thought it was Chinese people selling fireworks. It was the Italians in Little Italy.
Yeah.
And I would buy the fireworks from them. I'm a little kid. I'm riding 2 trains and a bus, watermelons, Christmas trees, you name it. I've sold it. I've taken pictures in Times Square when I was in high school with the wicker chair and all that. 1 for 3, 2 for 5, double exposures, all that. I'm a street kid. You know what I mean? A lot of people use that term loosely. But literally, I'm somebody who was always in the streets making money. You know, some people have limited the streets to being strictly about selling drugs. But when you're really a hustler, you could sell anything, bro.
You could sell newspaper in the paper mill.
You understand what I'm saying? So I lean to that thing there. But what had happened with me is that I just, as you get older, you see, from the time I reached about 32, I tapped out. Because, see, when I was 20, I was ready to do 10 years on any given day. I made my mind up, right? A lot of people, they think they can do wrong and not get caught. But to me, you have to make up your mind that you might get caught.
You made peace with it. Like, I got 10 years to give the system. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I claim the loss. I take ownership of the loss before I claim the victory. You know what I mean? So I reconcile it. Like, and seeing that keeps you from getting in situations where you break down, because adversity introduces a man to himself. See, but you want to figure out who you are before that adversity really hits you. You don't want to find out in the moment of truth that you've been living a lie. You know what I mean? So
reason why what you said resonated with me when I took the journey of how I wanted to live my life, being 300 pounds, and then saying I can't live like this. It was an epiphany. I asked the same universe that you asked, but I was in the mirror and I said, who the fuck am I? Who the fuck is this?
Yep.
And from that moment of talking to myself, which is the God in me and the God of the universe, I got the answer. No, you're not supposed to be like this. This is not you. And then I changed right there at that moment. So that's why I kind of like, because I remember having that moment. And I wish more of our men find that moment. Because once you find that moment, you're going to make peace with yourself. You're going to make peace with your former self. And you're going to move forward because it happened to you and it happened to me. So more men, black men, should be looking for that peace, because what you was, you don't have to be that if you don't want to be that. That's who you was.
Nah, you know, and by the time I was 30, that number dropped to 5. And 32, I said, man, I can't.
I ain't got 10 years. Yeah.
I was like, I ain't got nothing. I don't want to do nothing. And see, you got to be honest with yourself. You can lie to the whole world, but you should never lie to yourself.
Because that's the first person you lie to. The lie is to you first, and then you try to get people to, you try to convince people of the lie that you made up. You know?
Yeah, so once I came to that realization, I knew I needed to just get my life together, you know, and thus began the transformation. It was just so crazy that while I was doing this on my own, you know, that then out of nowhere, here comes this situation, and it just thrust me into the mix like that.
What I wanted to ask you, you grew up Hollis, Queens, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So you grew up, you seen the LLs, you're older than him, but you seen the LL, you seen the Russell, you seen the Simmons family, you seen all these people. How come you never entered the music industry?
Well, it's not for a lack of trying, you know. and being from Hollis, you know, you got to remember, like, and I know you do, 80s hip hop, New York was the epicenter. It wasn't LA, you know, Interscope wasn't out there, like, you know what I mean, doing rap and all that like that. I think they had Brian Turner and he was doing some P&D deals, but in any event, but more so in Hollis because, you know, before there was Bad Boy, there was Def Jam. Def Jam was the hip hop label, and it was black owned, supposedly. Even though Rick Rubin started it, and then Russell took it over, and then Leo took it, well, whatever, from Russell. But it had that thing, and from Hollis, we would go up to Def Jam all the time. And when Run DMC would go on tour or whatever, they would want dudes from the hood to go out on the road with them, which I never did because, you know, it wasn't that exciting to me to just watch them make money. Like a lot of dudes talk about this and that and the other, but you know who's really getting money, because if you could stop what you're doing to go be a prop in somebody else's show, you ain't really doing nothing. You know what I mean? And I don't care where you're from. You know what I mean? Like, and that's no shots against anybody, like Run or none of them. And I knew Run and D very well since I was like maybe 7 years old.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, but I wasn't stopping what I was doing to go on the road with them. And we're talking Fresh Fest, and these are all historic moments in hip hop history. You know, that's the first like arena tour was Fresh Fest. They started the sponsorship thing with Swatch Watch. All of Run DMC, and for that matter, the artists out of Queens are the genesis of much of what has become the commercial appeal of rap. I'm not saying that Queens started rap, no, but the commercialism of rap, I think, came out of Queens, man.
Yeah, and it really came from the artist that was under the tutelage of Russell, because even Curtis Blow, who's not from Queens, was like a big $1 million deal from Mercury, when it was unheard of that a rapper got this amount of money. But that was all under the tutelage of Russell and his genius. You told me a story. I don't know if you want to tell the audience though, your relationship with Russell and Run and. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've told it before, but you know, Run used to come by my house every morning, and we would walk to school together when we were like in the 6th grade. And his brother used to sell weed. Back then, you'd get a nickel bag and roll up about 8 joints. Dudes used to buy nickel bags and roll 8 joints and sell joints for $1 and make $3 profit on a nickel bag. You know, the type of numbers everybody throws around these days, you got to understand that we as a community, we came from a very humble place, which is why people used to mix on house turntables before they leveled up and bought techniques or whatever and all that. Yeah, the genesis of rap is really
disco.
You know, yo, man, it's disco and really poverty, right? You see, they say necessity is the mother of invention. But I think poverty has a lot to do with innovation and creativity.
Yeah, because we found a way to make that welfare cheese the best macaroni and cheese, the best grilled cheese sandwich, like using the iron to put using the radiator and doing stuff out of the lack of resources. But you use what you had and created some of the most beautiful things that to this day ain't nothing like that welfare grilled cheese sandwich.
It's no different than dudes being locked up. I hate to use the analogy, but they're so creative with their limited resources, and they do all kinds of things. Because, you know, that lack and yearning combined brings about the creativity, and I think that's really how rap was born. And you know, we had this image of hip hop now that it's all about, you know, Lamborghinis and all that, man, but that's not what it was. And seeing also in Queens too, the introduction of wearing regular clothes and the big jewelry like that. You know what I mean? See, like I remember Houdini in Brooklyn, they was kind of like GQ, and shout out to Jalil, that's my dude. You know what I mean? And but running them with the big old, they emulated the street figures, the dope boys that were around. So, and then that became the norm. Because when you look at Melly Mel and them, they wore the little chains. You know, they wore like
they wore some wild shit too.
The leather shit.
Yeah, they wore some wild shit.
They look like the Village.
They're like punk rockers. They was punk.
Yes.
Yeah, like punk.
But because and that's why when the people talk about the Bronx and hip hop, again, I'm not taking credit from nobody. They started something, but they have to be honest that what they started is not what exists today.
Yes.
They started something very different that evolved into this when other people touched it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because they wanted to be
Billy Idol.
They wanted to be disco stars.
Billy Idol and yeah.
Look at Bambaataa and them with the Indian headdresses and all that.
Yeah.
They weren't street.
No.
They was trying to be funk and rock and disco artists.
They had songs called Renegades of Funk.
Yo, bro. You know what I mean? Like they really was. And that's not to take no credit for. They did what they did, but I don't think they knew what they had. And other people took it.
The B-boy image does come from Run DMC, even when they were wearing the leather. It was gangster leather. It wasn't tight leather like, of tight leather pants. They was wearing blazers with BVDs under it and Cassels. You know what I'm saying?
Did you say BVDs?
BVDs. Listen, I'm such a study of the culture. I'm not old enough to have BVDs, but I remember looking back, I'm like, what's a BVD? Yeah, BV, because that was really underwear. People didn't know BVDs was underwear, and people would wear underwear outside because it was so fly.
But I'll tell you what else too. BVDs was popular from Rikers Island because you could wash them and they dry quick because they was nylon.
Yeah.
And you had the Paris nylons and all that. But anyway, like running them. A lot of people don't even know that the hats that they wore came from the Godfather, Michael Corleone. They used to call it Godfather hats back in the days. But that was a 70s thing, right? So you got to figure, running out of the same age, we were like 13 in 1978, right? And getting ready to turn 14.
Damn.
So the older boys was wearing the Godfather hats. Like all the dudes, they saw Michael Corleone. And this is another thing too, just a little sidebar. It is such a lie that music and film do not influence people.
Oh no, everyone
knows that it does, okay?
Can I tell you something, Scoon? It's
bro.
movies that I watch just for the jewels, the information that I pick up. Like, I watch them every couple of months, and that's Godfather 1 and 2, just for the information in the Star Wars series. Because the information and the way relationships, not for the gangster part of it, the mental part that's in Star Wars is crazy. How Anakin was once a Jedi and experiencing loss and trauma turned them to the dark side. A lot of people don't understand the esoteric message in that. They just look at it as some sci-fi that I say, no, he was once a good guy who had the angel on one shoulder, the demon on the other. The angel was telling him, no, stay with us. But somebody made him a promise. Yo, if you join us, we're going to give you the spoils of the labor of being a bad guy. Yeah, you got to be a bad guy, but look what you're going to get. And I always liken that to today's society. You telling these young kids, listen, I know you talking about killing people. I know you want to do that, but I'm going to get you a chain. I'm going to get you a car. I'm going to get you a house. Fuck it, kill the hood. And it's the same thing. So that's why I watch stuff like that. But movies, come on, when Scarface came out, forget about it. Everybody was going to sell them some. Everybody was selling them some cocaine, sniffing it, selling it, and everything. But continue.
Man, even Shaq had Twism, The World Is Mine, which was on the blimp in Scarface.
I forgot all about that.
It was affecting everybody in all kinds of ways. You know what I mean? And there's some old footage of the Supreme team at a party. And Preem and others was wearing the white suits like Tony Montana had on. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, bro. So it does influence the young, impressionable minds. But a lot of us, we don't realize what is happening to us until we come out of it. You know what I mean? And then we look back. And for me, I just think there's a responsibility for us who survived, all this, what I call social engineering, because I believe there are people who are very much aware of what's happening. And these things aren't just put there for money. I don't think money really matters to the people in power. See, money matters to us. Money is the vehicle by which we are manipulated and exploited. The people who make the money, they don't, you know, money don't get you power.
Yeah, the money don't make them. They make the money. Well, us, the money makes us.
Yes,
the money makes us the stat quo of I got, because the funniest thing is that with us, you could always see our money. You can see where we spent it. With them, they got generational money that if you have on a $40 shirt, they look at you like an idiot because they like, well, the shirt costs 50 cents to make. Why are you wearing that? It doesn't make any sense to them. Where I wanted to go with you, because me and you had a dope conversation that I really wanted to delve into, and I think the audience should be privy to what we spoke about in private, because it's something that needs to be known publicly. You don't believe in, all right, we have a tree. We know who's at the top. We know the minions of the tree. The minions would be the people that look like us, who's put before us, and we're made to idolize them, but it's puppet masters over them. You don't believe in attacking the minions. You believe in taking the tree down from the top. The root is the root. We know who the root is, but the top of the pyramid. You don't believe in, although you might speak on the Diddys, the Jay-Z's, you know that it's higher uppers that's controlling that. Why is it important for you to go to the top and not the figureheads?
Well, there's a couple things, right? I will attack someone who looks like us if I feel like they are doing too much, right? But the reason why it's not my preference is because I also understand a lot of times these individuals have gotten themselves in situations where they can't say no, right?
In too deep.
Yeah, you know. So it's really futile attacking them anyway. Sometimes when I do attack them, it would be just to make an example out of them. But what I really want is for all the other ones who are too weak to resist, to just get out the way, man. Stop giving cover to these scoundrels that's behind you. You see, we can't ever fight a victorious battle if we don't even know who the real enemy is. You see, if we're constantly thinking the real enemy is somebody who looks like us, they'll just, when we get rid of that person, they'll just have another one.
Have a new nigga next year.
And another one. You know, those people are problematic. Some of them are, I find them to just be very weak, you know, and one who I don't mind naming is Diddy. You know what I mean? I don't know, you know, you gotta understand that I don't hate somebody like a Diddy at all. You gotta look at this dude. He grew up without a father. His father was murdered. Who knows what he was exposed to without any kind of masculine leadership or role model. You see, and you see a lot of that in our community, and it wasn't always like that. You know, in a lot of ways, right? Like people have kind of turned on religion and Christianity and all these things, right? And I'm not here to propagate any kind of religion, but I'm gonna tell you that what religion does, forget the different types of religion. What religion does is give everyone some kind of moral blueprint
and discipline,
do's and don'ts,
and discipline,
right?
and discipline.
I'm not going to get into this particular theology. A lot of people get into that because they want to dismantle that order and introduce chaos. See, but if the religion is false, right, you cannot take it away from people unless you replace it with something.
You know, I don't want to cut you. So what I learned was when the father-in-law left the temple and he went onto the streets and introduced the nation in gods of herbs, he used to send certain people back to the temple for the discipline. You got to go. You ain't right out here. So you got to go back and regain the discipline that the temple's going to teach you, and then you could come back amongst us. So yo, man, damn, it's like I'm talking to myself right now, because I've said to people, I say, yo, y'all diss religion. y'all say religion, I'm spiritual, but you forget that it's evil spirits too. Spirits is not always good. You have evil spirits. And a lot of this new age, white Anglo-Saxon way of thought is not even your thought. A lot of this atheism and all of that, we've always had a spiritual system. Now they're giving you nothing and you're believing in their system that they comes from them. They are godless people. We've never been godless people.
Yeah, and that's the thing. See, if they don't believe in good spirits, why would they believe in bad spirits? But let me share this little tidbit. See, because I learned through my experience. My education is experiential, right? I read a book called The Rise and Fall of the Messenger by Carl Evans, Karlevanzz, right? It was a book about the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad, right? And it was an expose or whatever. If you believe it or you don't, whatever. I'm not here to preach either way. I let people find their own truth, right? But I had a good friend in Brooklyn over there, but near Brookline, right? In Canarsie. And he was a devout Nation of Islam follower. I met him in the Respect for Life bookstore over there on Hegeman near Brookdale. Like I'm from Queens, but I'd be all over Brooklyn too, right? So check it.
Respect for Life was on Nostrand.
No, they had a Respect for Life on Hegeman.
Oh yeah, because my homeboy Jabril owned it. Oh, he had two stores. Yeah. It was on it was on Nostrand.
They had one on Hegeman.
Okay, yeah, Nostrand and Atlantic.
I lived right around the corner on Chester.
Okay,
That's why I know. You know what I mean? So check it. Brother Alonzo was running the one on Hegeman. You know what I mean? But anyway, my good friend worked in the store, and I gave him the book, and he read the book, and he called me, and I went to see him one day, and he was shaking. Because there's a lot of things in the book that I understood, but if you are a member of the nations, there were certain things in the book that you would really understand that an outsider wouldn't. And yo, man, I learned my lesson that day because I gave him that book and I took his foundation away from him unintentionally, you know, just through intellectual masturbation. You know how we like to build and all this.
Yeah. We sparring,
Yo, just inadvertently, I took his foundation from him by giving him that book. Because he used to sell fish and all that over by the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm telling you, this was a real Nation of Islam dude. Yo, it caused him to leave, and I always regretted it afterwards. Because I said, yo, it was wrong of me to give him that book and not give him something to replace it. What he had. You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, we all got, that's the thing with maturity, right? It's not so much about proving people wrong. It's about steering people right and building them up. You see, you just can't crush people because you know that they wrong. And your ego wants you to be like, yeah, I know more than you. I'm smarter than you. See, we got to get out of that.
Yeah, I call that the be right complex. You want to be right about everything, but now what? What are we to follow you now? Like, now what?
Come on, man. You know, and that's why I said ego. So, but I'm a man of a certain age, right? So, and that's another reason why I'm kind of like reserved in my direct criticisms of people, because I know who I am today is not who I was 30 years ago. And you never know who somebody would become if you allow them the time to become that person. But it will only happen if they really want to evolve. If they relish their negativity, well, then they're like a lost cause, bro, you know?
Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the platforms. You have your own platform, Scoon TV, your own servers, your own apps, everything. We have platforms in our culture, which is Black culture, created from Black culture, should be curated by Black people, because as Black men and women, we all don't have negative connotations and everything. Sometimes we have some stuff that we want to talk about, but we're finding that the people that curate our culture is not curating the culture, they're curating our trauma, our negativity. And you have these brothers who's getting out of prison doing 30 years, and because one time they be like, yeah, I did 30 years standing on my head. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, you're fucked up in your head. Like, you need, you need counseling. Like, because I don't see how you spend 30 years like that and you think you're perfectly normal. You know, you're going to need something to readjust the society. You should not be going to do an interview after you just got released out of prison. That's just my personal opinion. And especially,
I happen to agree with you, but keep going. I'm speaking on that.
Yeah. So now we have these brothers, we have rappers, we have ball players, we have everything sitting before people who are not from our culture. Like you said, the culture derived from being inadequate and being able to create something from nothing, being able to make rocks into a quarter water thing and making slingshots, you know, with a balloon, you know, with people, unfortunately, in the hood, learning how to make crack pipes out of a bottle and a straw. You know, that was an invention to smoke crack, a soda can. So now we have people whose finance, millions of dollars, their platforms of finance, off of our dysfunction, but they're not from our culture. And I will say their names. I will say Vlad, No Jumper, Adam 22, and others.
1090 Jake.
1090 Jake. They're doing things within our culture that doesn't paint us in a good light. You have a particular problem with that. I've always had a problem with it, but when I expressed it, I got attacked by our people. Even though I was able to show and prove, explain why, our people were mad at me more than the actual platforms. But why does Scoon have an issue with these platforms?
Look, man, first of all, we're going to have to redefine who our people really are, right?
You sound just like me. My audience, listen, for my audience, what do I say every day? Who's our people?
Yeah.
But go ahead, though. Go ahead, bro.
It can't just be reduced to pigmentation and melanin, right?
Yeah, facts. Yep.
It's about like-minded, like values, and so on and so forth. We've fallen under this spell of all of us are the same, as if we're a monolith, and we're not. But my problem with Vlad in particular, you go on Vlad any day, and there's always some black person talking about how many people they were accused of killing, how many years, how they did the killing, how much drugs they sold. And all it is a bunch of people who should not be proud of the destruction they participated in. Now, I'm not acting like I haven't participated in destruction as well. But I like I said, I've never done wrong and thought it was right. I'm not going to get out there and brag about things that I should be quiet about. And I want to say something to anybody who goes on Vlad talking all this nonsense, right? I don't care if you did it or you didn't. The bottom line, if you on there doing it, talking about it, is because you waiting for some white man to write a check because you think your life is a movie or something, and it ain't happening, bruh. Those comments and all that, that's all you're going to get. After doing all that time, killing all those people, having all those sleepless nights, you just did it for some likes and some comments, man.
Clout.
And
you did it for clout
really, now. That's really cheap of you. You know what I mean? And I think, again, like I said, everybody can change, right? But they have to demonstrate that they want to do that change. I think Vlad and others, they exploit us because we enjoy being exploited, right? So it's and I say that because look, when we try to call them out, you did. They got on your bumper like, yo, what you talk about, doggy? Like, yo, we like people taking advantage of us.
Going back since 2008, bro. I've been dealing with some hell. So that's why when I went on Drink Champs and Nori and them said something about Vlad, I was like, no, I ain't got a dog in this fight. Because when I was saying it, I got called a hater, I got called jealous, I got called the stuff. Everything that y'all are saying now, I said in 2008 because I'm a person who has foresight. You know what I'm saying? Hindsight is behind me. I'm going to learn from the hindsight. But the foresight is very, very deep. So I seen where it was going to be today. So how do you attack a man after he's made it? See, with them and us, they stop us in our track. No, he ain't getting to that. And one of the things that they do to us, they attack our funding. If I do something wrong right now on this YouTube, they're going to say, who's paying this nigga? Oh, no, we're going to go after them. We're going to stop his deals. We're going to stop his situations. With us, we get mad at them but we don't go after the money. With them, they learn to go after the money. So when it was Vlad and people was having issues with him, I said, yo, why y'all don't go after Complex? Complex was cutting the checks. Y'all going after him as an individual. He like, whatever. What did he say? It ain't stopped my bottom line. I could get rid of Lord Jamal, Godfrey, get rid of My Song, and I just replaced them with Michael Jai White, Boosie, and other people. So it didn't stop my bottom line. What you have to say about that?
Look, man, Vlad wanted to interview me 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's asked me at least twice. I'm thinking 3 times, but for sure twice. No. So why didn't I go on Vlad? Because I don't like what he do. And not only that, I have a little somewhat history with Vlad. Cavario, most known for Don Diva, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He still wears the Don Diva medallion in his photos, so he's proud of his connection to Don Diva. He called me one time around 2007, around 2007, and he put Vlad on the phone. At the time, he was going by the name Vlad the Butcher, and he was a mixtape DJ from the Bay Area. I didn't know who he was. I heard about him from hip-hop, didn't know what he looked like, didn't even really care to research. They wanted to do an American Gangster episode of on Mac Dre, Romper Room. I had never heard any of Mac Dre music. To this day, I don't think I've heard any of Mac Dre's music, right? And that's no disrespect to anybody. I'm just being honest, and I'm saying these things for context, right? So I don't do things because I'm a fan, or I don't even know who most of these people are, right? So anyway, I spoke to the people at American Gangster because I was working with them. I did the Fat Cat episode, I did the Supreme McGriff episode, and I did the Shower Posse episode. I got my first production credits with American Gangster. I started understanding how to do the little film thing, right? Didn't go to film school or nothing. And I got Vlad to do the Romper Room project with American Gangster. His first TV production credit, I got it for him. Right? Now, I didn't charge him anything because I eat up. I don't eat down, right? What I did, I went to the production company and got a consulting credit from them for bringing his thing to the table. See, and we got to learn how to do business because we try to get money from the people who don't have the money. I went to the people who had the money. I knew I should have gotten paid, but the way we do it is we ask Vlad, yo, you got to pay me such and such. You know,
we do nigga business. We do nigga business.
Look, I didn't want to say it, but
I said it.
I agree. So I did get some money for bringing it to the table. And by the way, I did the same thing with Chaz Williams, his episode on American Gangster. He came at me, but the reason why I did his is because he spoke to the author of Queen's Reign Supreme for me when I asked him. So I reciprocate everything. You do anything for me, I'm in your debt. So I did it for Vlad, didn't ask him for anything. One day Vlad hit me and said, yo, Scoon, I'm gonna send you some money, man, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't ask him for any money. But I wasn't going to turn it down because at this time, to be honest with you, I needed the money at the time. Because remember, I'm changing my life around. Now, keep in mind, I didn't ask. He sent me $1,000. I was grateful for it. Good looking, Vlad. Anyway, I never put a number on anything. He gave me what he wanted to give me, and he gave it to me at his own, convenience. I wasn't looking for anything either. Let's be fair, right? Years later, I asked Vlad when he first started airing videos to air videos some people I know that I was trying to work to help them get some exposure. And he told me that the video wasn't up to the standard of what he was putting on his platform. If you remember when Vlad first started, it wasn't like he was putting MTV videos on his platform. He didn't
even have no original content.
Come on, bruh. So I felt kind of a way. And ever since then, I never rocked with him. I never rocked with him. I was like, oh, okay, cool. See, he felt because he gave me the $1,000, he didn't owe me anything.
Yeah, that was his out. That was his out. Yeah, and I'm sharing that so brothers that's listening could understand how these people move.
right? Yeah. So it's good sometimes to leave people in debt so you can collect what you want to collect when it's time. Don't let them get an easy out on you, you know? Because a lot of us, we tend to do a lot of favors for people because one of the things about being black is you always have to prove yourself to everybody.
Every day. Even,
And, you know,
listen, it's what you did today matters. What you did in the culture for 20 years, oh, Ron Isley need to sit his old ass down. Oh, man. But Mick Jagger could run around the stage looking flabby and sick and get celebrated. But once we start aging, we get a little gray in our beard. We need to sit our ass down. And we're taught that. We have to prove ourselves every day. We can't rest on our laurels and say, look, I did it. We just have to, and they don't have to do that.
You know what? I agree with that. And I think I'll take it a step further. I think it's very important to not show black heterosexual men as being independently successful. Every example of black success was made by somebody not black, or they won't big it up because they need to be able to take what you have from you, cut you off, just like you mentioned about YouTube and this, that. They have to be able to pull the rug from under you, and that's the only way they're comfortable with your success. We have to believe that we need other people to be successful. And this is why I finance everything I do myself, from my films to Scoon TV on my own server to my development company in Detroit that I'm working on doing some serious development deals out there, and everything. I finance it myself. It may take me a little longer, but I don't have to dance for nobody. You see, I could tell people no. And that's the thing.
And give them the finger, and you can hang up the phone or walk out of offices.
And when you can tell them no, that's power. The money's not the power. Your car's not the power. None of that. Being able to say, no, I don't want to do that, man.
You know what's the power I tell people, my audience, is MVP. You know what MVP is? Morals, values, and principles. That's what MVP really is. When you could walk out there and say, yo, you know what? This is what I share with my audience, and I'm going to share it with you. You know, we got Digital Soapbox Network, me and my partner that you spoke to. We got a few shows, the Gangster Chronicles. When we had a deal with Intercom, which is CBS, which is in the Viacom building. They were looking for commercials for us, which is live read. So, you know, it's like, hey, what's up? This is Doggie Diamonds. I'm sitting. All they felt that I was worth, No Filter was worth, was liquor sponsors, vape sponsors, and erectile dysfunction shit. Now, I don't smoke. I don't drink. And I ain't got no problem getting my money right when it's time, right?
Okay.
So when they offered me these things, I said, well, I can't go to my audience and sell them liquor because I don't drink and my audience knows that. Can't you give me something else? That's what came up. So I'm saying all that to say, I end up turning a lot of those things down when other people would have took the bag, but I would have been lying to myself first, and I would have been coming before you saying, yo, what's up? This is Doggie Diamonds. When I'm in the crib chilling, I'm smoking on it. And y'all would have been looking at me like, yo, he lying. But I would have said, yeah, I lied, but I got to the bag. When I turn that down, it's something I did for me. Because our people don't celebrate the fact that, yo, that was some real moral shit to do. They be like, nah, I would have took that money, shit. I gotta eat. So I know you have been offered situations. You put out a police documentary. You have another one coming out. Why do you turn down besides that? Why can't Curtis Scoon be bought?
You know, I talk about when I used to do wrong. You know, I never worked for anybody, good, right or wrong, until I was 32. And like I said, that's when I realized I couldn't do no time. I got a job, but even with that, I worked with a coalition and got my job, strong arm in the job.
Yeah, because coalitions was, if I don't get no work, ain't no work here. That's when you and the brothers would get together and go shut the job site down. If y'all was, now all the Mexicans, respectfully to them, do it all. Like,
but my orientation has never really been to work for somebody. And that is not to make anybody feel lesser because they've worked. What I'm saying is that one of the good things that came out of not working for people is that I'm not afraid to rely on me. And you will find most people are. The last person they want to rely on is the motherfucker in the mirror. Because since they were small, it's always been, you gotta get a good job, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Their fate has always been in someone else's hand only because that's what they were taught to do. Put it in someone else's hand. And for me, man, I woke up every morning and faced the world with nothing but my balls and my wits and my faith. And I went home every night a winner. So I am not afraid not to have support, bro. I'm not afraid. And I'm talking about business support of any kind. Like, man, I'm so comfortable by myself in the world, in the hood, wherever. It's like, because I've never been taught to lean on anybody or anything, man. You understand? And that kind of confidence is what it takes, I believe, to be successful. And when you come from good families and you have good guidance, you're taught that. But for a lot of us that come from, different types of family structures, we usually have to learn that the hard way. And sometimes we don't survive the lessons.
I don't want to cut you, but moving around all these years, did you encounter the early stages of some of these labels, the Jay-Z's, the Dame Dashes, what was your relationship, if any, to some of these guys early on?
Irv Gotti is from Hollis.
Yes.
I'm not particularly fond of Irv, and I don't care to say it on he can hear it and he knows why. But his brother Chris is a good guy. Yes. And a lot of things I won't say about Irv, it's because of Chris.
And I just put this on my Instagram. That was my favorite interview I've ever did in my life. Was Chris Gotti, because I liked that he was transparent and he wasn't. Chris wasn't afraid to name those names that everybody was scared of. That everybody's scared of. He named those names, and that's what it is. But continue.
Yeah. So Irv, I had gotten Mike Geronimo when Irv was over at Blunt TVT. I had gotten Mike Geronimo on the radio for him as a favor, right? I didn't charge him any money, anything. Mike got some spins. And the way I was able to do it, my sister worked for Kathy Hughes, who had owned Radio 1 in D.C. I think she still owns it. Her son runs it or whatever. And Irv remembered that. So when he got with Jay and them, he told them about me. And they gave me their first single, which was Dead Presidents on the A side and Ain't No Nigga on the B side. At this time, it was just Jay, Dame, and Biggs, and they had a 25/75 P&D deal with
was this
Priority.
Free, or was this Freeze Priority?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Freeze, but I know Priority was in there somewhere, right? And Priority, I think, was Brian Turner, and they had their office on John Street. So I was there because of Irv from the beginning, and I never discussed any money with them, right? I gave it to my sister, and the reason why I didn't discuss any money with them, because I wasn't 100% sure I could get it done. I gave the music to my sister, and they listened to Dead Presidents, and the DJs, I think there was 92Q in Baltimore, another station in Philly, and the one in D.C. They all said that Dead Presidents, he sounded like a Nas wannabe. Because remember, he's coming out after Illmatic, and his style was somewhat like he was trying to follow that trend.
Yeah.
But all the DJs liked Ain't No Nigga on the B side with Foxy Brown. So instead of playing the A side, they didn't play the song that he wanted played, but the B side took off. The DJs pretty much took his first single. They broke his first single for him without him. It happened I guess by divine intervention, because if it was up to him and the staff at Rockefeller, they would have been pushing Dead Presidents, which wasn't that banging. It was, if you listen to it, it's kind of a sleepy song, right? So in any event, the first time anyone heard Jay-Z's music outside of New York was because I did it. I never got paid for that, you know? I never got paid for that. And the funny thing about these, I don't want to say industry dudes, right? The funny thing about people who have never done anything, they don't really understand that there's so many components to make something work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because they're so thirsty for attention and glory, they think that everything happened because of them.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They don't recognize all the contributing factors
Mm-hmm.
that led to their success. You know, and that's the importance of humility. Humility isn't so much about being humble to strangers. Humility is being humble with yourself and for God. Understanding that you did not do all of this by yourself, and being honest about who helped and recognizing their value. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was my experience with Jay. I was not, you know, again, not to beat up on rappers. I've been around a couple of people, but he never struck me as somebody who got a whole lot of money or anything like that. And if you really understand business, because that's what I understand, right? Biggs was obviously there, who had no background in music business. So I'm just gonna say that he was obviously attached to the funding, the investment in Rockefeller. And Dame, I think he had a deal when he was 18 or something, and he got family in the music business and entertainment. Dame was there for his know-how and his connections. And Jay was there because he was talent, right? So all this talk, I remember when he had the GS 300, like Irv, and he come out to Queens. I remember Jay. I'm not saying he's a bad dude, but the thing is, man, these artists, all of them, they sell a lifestyle. And how common can it be that the lifestyle they sell is really the lifestyle that they had, right? So they all kind of embellish and exaggerate, but it shouldn't be a problem because it's just entertainment. But we've blurred the lines with reality and entertainment so much that a lot of these people get lost in character, and they don't get their wake-up call until it's too late sometimes.
Being from Queens, being from Hollis, and you have South Side and you have Hollis. 50 being from South Side, and he's had issue with Hollis because of Irv and Ja Rule and them. Did you ever encounter 50 Cent?
50's a lot younger than me. And 50 says he's from South Side, but he's not really from South Side. He's from Rochdale. He's from the back streets of Rochdale. Yes, it's a couple blocks to Baisley on Guy Brewer, but he's not from over. That's not what we call South Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying? But it you know, he's crafted a narrative, and because he's winning and he got money, a bunch of people are co-signing. Shit, you'll have people from South Jamaica saying he's from South Jamaica. But I'm from Southeast Queens, man. And he's from over there in the back streets of Bedell somewhere. I had no reason to know him. Not only is he younger than me, his case, he caught a case. I think like 3 people went to jail for selling one crack to somebody. Or
One crack?
Look, I'm exaggerating. It's about $50 worth.
Okay,
you know,
okay,
there was a lookout, a touter.
Half an 8-ball.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what? One person holding, I imagine that was him.
Yeah.
Somebody steering and somebody make the sale. So they got all 3 of them for making the $20 transaction. That's what he went to jail for. Why the fuck would I know him? You understand what I'm saying? I don't smoke crack. You know what I mean? You know, look, you'd have to smoke to know that somebody on that level. And that's why he went to a shock program and he decided to be a rapper. I mean, and again, he's getting his money, man. Good for him. You know what I mean? He's getting his money. But he's another one that has crafted this street narrative. And when you look at how his marketing was done, right? It was done to parallel Tupac. Look at him with the shirt off. Ja Rule did it too, around that time, everybody wanted to be the next Tupac.
Little Zane, even Master P was emulating Tupac at one point.
Yo, they all was, because Tupac did numbers, right? It was a business thing, and you know what I mean. Like, yo, this is what's working. And you know, the entertainment business is like, yo, Monkey See, Monkey Do. Ja Rule had that image. Even DMX to a certain degree.
Yeah.
They all did the same shit.
Even Tretch crafted into that.
Yo, yeah. And you know who was the first one to do that shit? LL Cool J.
Yeah.
But he was doing it before Pac.
Yeah, he just never took the hat off. We never seen what was under the hat.
That's right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, but the shirt off and all that. But in any event, man, you know, that's what was happening with that whole situation, man. And 50, I think he was in the right place at the right time. He hooked up with Sha Money XL.
Who don't get no credit no more though? Like he's wiped out of the whole history of it.
Yo, bruh, you know, look, man, 50 got with the West Coast dudes and he didn't look back. You know, after he was down on his luck, Sha actually, I give Sha credit for 50's success. That's just me personally. I met Sha once or twice. I don't know him. I don't have any dealings with him. Shit, I was up in Wu Kid's attic when he was living with his parents, and he put somebody on a mixtape, an artist that I had at the time, and they recorded the verse in his attic, and Sha made it happen. I think it was the soundtrack for How Can I Be Down, and they was doing it in Jamaica at the time, Jimmy Henchman and all that. Look, man, 50 named himself after a dude
from
robbing Brooklyn. People. A dude who was robbing people for their earrings and coats, driving around Brooklyn in a Jetta. So that lets you know, if you're looking up to this guy, it lets you know where you are in life. You understand what I'm saying? If this is your role model and you want to name yourself after him, it kind of tells you where he was at that time.
You have a new product coming out. Can you talk about the Bone Box coming?
Oh yeah.
What is it about your? Because you know, I'm being Brooklyn guy. You know, I love Mike. I love Zab. I love Riddick. I love Shannon Briggs. I love Mark Breland. I love all of the boxers from Brooklyn. You know, we have champions, even Curtis Stevens, and you know the newcomers. There's even one Kid Chocolate. I think he's an import, but I know all my Brooklyn boxers, even Teofimo Lopez is from Brooklyn. Yeah. I know all my Brooklyn boxers, and I'm missing some. I'm sorry, y'all. So me being a kid, Mike that's just what it was, Mike Tyson.
He represents an era.
Yeah, and what Brownsville kind of still is a little bit, but what it was at that time was a very dangerous place, and to see him make it out of there, we was like, holy shit. Made everybody start lifting their little weights, and they had a boxing gym in Brownsville, but they had one in the Sty too. So you know, it started with slap boxing. We started to see how nice you was with your hands and all that,
and body boxing,
body blow. Yeah. So where it's at now, it's $1 billion industry, but we don't reap the billions from it. So what is your documentary about?
Well, first of all, it's amazing, right? Because the documentary fell in my lap. I did Black, White, and Blue. If you pull it up, it's on Amazon. It's 5 stars on Amazon. It's amazing because it was blackballed. I'm blackballed in the industry, right? Because of my perspectives, because of my politics. So I'm very careful
and your Twitter.
About how I
your Twitter. Definitely your Twitter got you blackballed.
Look, so you know, but some brothers, 2 brothers out of Baltimore, one named Fats, one named Kelly. Both of them were doing time for murder in Maryland. And they were locked up with the son of Adrian Davis, who is a trainer. And Kelly has a little son named Isaiah. We have a mutual friend, and on a call with these 2 dudes in prison, and the mutual friend that we all have, it was decided they wanted me to finish a project they had started from prison. but I couldn't use any of their footage. It wasn't shot right. I had to redo the whole thing. It was about Adrian Davis. I took on the project. They asked me to do it, didn't give me any money, anything. I said, all right, yeah, I'll do it. Because, you know, I try to help brothers out. You know what I mean? It was as a vehicle to showcase his son. But once I got involved with it, I realized that the project that they wanted to do wasn't going to get the results that I would be satisfied with. So I expanded the project and I redesigned the project. And now we're telling the whole story of boxing. And you can visit borntoboxfilm.com. I got like 35 interviews and counting. You know what I mean? I want it to be a docuseries. And it's really a way to show the contribution of us. To me, the greatest promoter of all time was Don King. Was he perfect? No. But I have countless legends to say just that in the film. From Ray Mercer to Larry Holmes to Richard Steele to Sean Bay Mitchell to Keith Holmes to, yo, man, on and on. Even Sammy the Bull Gravano talked about how good Don King was for boxing and that Don King paid fighters so much it didn't even make sense for the mob to fix fights anymore. And it was smarter to control, to have a stake in fighters because the money had gotten so big. And see, these are the things you'll never hear. I interviewed Don's son, Carl King. Carl talked about how Don took his Mike Weaver and Larry Holmes from ABC to HBO in 1979. And that's what got HBO in every, not that fight, but having boxing greatly contributed to HBO getting a foothold in every household.
Damn, I wish, I don't cut you up, but I wish you could have got Butch Lewis, rest in peace. I used to love Butch Lewis.
I got Michael Spinks, and he talked about
that's good enough. Butch Lewis, listen, yeah.
It's brilliant work. I've been taking
what's the other brother name? Was Leon. Murad Muhammad?
Murad Muhammad, yes, I remember.
I know my boxing, bro. I don't know no other sport. I know my boxing. Even did you try to get Rock Newman?
I did, but Rock is in a different space right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, I got plenty. The only ones I'm waiting on right now is Don King and possibly Al Heyman or
Leonard
or Floyd.
Would you get Leonard?
You know, Leonard Elby? I would if he would do it. Yeah, I would do it for sure.
Oh, I wish he was alive. Another one, rest in peace, man. Roger Mayweather, man. He was so candid on that camera, man. He would give it to you so real. That's it.
The original Black
Mamba, the original Black Mamba, who would come in. He fought a lot of Mexican individuals, and he would come in with the sombrero and all that. That's where Floyd get it from. He get it from Uncle Roger. That's a fact.
That's where they all get it from. They call Roger the Mexican assassin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I dig deep into the corruption in boxing. I got Bob Lee Sr., who co-founded the IBF, went to prison for 2 years. You know, for the rankings or whatever. I got his son. Man, there's so much content. I don't want to give it away, but it'll shake the table. And for us, what I don't like about boxing is that what Don King did was he traumatized the competition. And Don King had an advantage on the competition because not only was he paying more money, but he was Black. So they felt more comfortable with him. So in order to wrestle control, they had to get Don King up out of there, which they eventually did because he just got old and he didn't have a heavyweight champion, right? People don't know how important the heavyweights are to boxing itself.
Especially a Black American heavyweight.
Very important. So they did that, but they also started shifting and prioritizing non-Black American fighters. So you hear about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, or you hear about Canelo Alvarez and a plethora of Mexican fighters.
Who've always been, the Mexicans always been a staple, but now it's all about the Mexicans. And even at one point, the Russian boxers, because remember the Klitschko's had a hold on it. The two brothers had it for like 12 years, you know, and they was getting their ass whipped whenever they fought a good fight or a mediocre fighter. They was getting their ass whipped. But it was something about the way the look. And I think it was just the white hope. Even though they're not Anglo-Saxon, it was just or what?
Look,
Because we know the history of Jack Johnson and how, you know, they didn't.
all that's in the doc, bro.
Dope,
Everything.
dope.
Yo, I'm touching on the racism. You know, Carl King said something to me because Bernard Hopkins, who a lot of people like, he bragged about being the person to put Don King out of boxing.
For real?
Because he beat Don King's last champion. And I asked Carl King about that. And he said, yo, man, first of all, he didn't put my father out of boxing. He said, my father's still promoting fights, which he is. Don recently signed Adrian Broner, right? Mm-hmm. He's just not the dominant force that he was. Now, check it.
Bernard Hopkins, what was that last fight? Who was the last fighter he fought that he put?
It was a middleweight. It was around 2004. I forgot the dude's name. I knew it, but...
Was it Jermaine Taylor? Was it Jermaine?
No,
it wasn't, because he lost to Jermaine Taylor.
No.
Tarver, was it Tarver?
No,
he beat Tarver. Because I know all the B-Hop fights too.
He took the title. I'll come back to the name, but I asked, this is what Carl said on camera, and it's going in the doc. He said, when I asked him why would B-Hop say something like that, he said, listen, there's one thing niggas and white folks got in common. They both hate niggas.
Damn.
Yo, look. Yo, look.
I don't even know. Interview over. That's it. We about it. Like, holy shit.
Yo, when I tell you I got heat.
Yeah.
No, I got heat.
I love
it. There's so many. That's why I said this can't be a documentary.
Yeah, got to be a
docu-series, bro.
No, it sounds like, beautiful.
This is insane, man.
So do you have any pre orders? Do you have anything right now? It's just bornthebox.com?
I'm shopping it. I got tentative representation from CAA. Mm-hmm. I've been having development calls with them, right? They want to see what I got, though. Mm-hmm. Everybody want to see what I got. Mm-hmm. The teaser that I got on the website, the first 10 minutes, you know, Andre Rozier's in there, Sugar Hill Stewart, Emmanuel Stewart's nephew. Mm-hmm. Sugar Hill trains Tyson Fury, Don House.
Oh, that's Emmanuel Stewart's nephew?
Yeah.
Sugar Hill? Wow. Yes. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I got
so his name is Sugar Hill Stewart? He got the same last name? Oh, wow. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, I got Hassan Rahman. They all in the teaser that's on the site, man. Mm-hmm. It starts off with Richard Steele. So when they saw that, everybody's like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? But now I just got to finish. The jab they felt, now I got to deliver the knockout. And you know, the thing is, man, my director and editor, Asia Norris, she did Black, White, and Blue. Mm-hmm. It's just really... You know, it's really just us doing, like, me and her doing like maybe 85% of the work in the middle of me doing everything else that I'm doing.
Let me ask you something about Bernard Hopkins. I loved him as a fighter. His knowledge of boxing is beautiful. The way he could break down boxing is beautiful because he was in the ring. He was a good pugilist. But the way he goes at some of the black fighters, I don't know if I like
That's why I don't like him.
He always dissed Floyd, and the way he disses Devin Haney and his father. Look, what is that all about to you?
He's just a bootlicking house nigga, bro.
Damn.
That's it. And there's a lot of them out there. You see, I don't even believe he's a partner in Golden Boy. I think he's just a paid front man.
Yeah, because where's Shane Mosley, right? Remember Shane Mosley was a part of it as well? Where's Shane?
Yo, bro, look, bro. You know, I think they just roll him out, just like, yo, man. He's just
to get the nigga card. Like, are they being used as a figurehead? Because
look, but I don't. If it won't work with any real black brothers, you know what I mean? Because they can see what you see, what I see. I'm definitely gonna put that clip in there where the white boy knocked him out the ring in his last fight. It's all going in there. No, look, man. They can say what they want to say about me. Mm-hmm. But I am for black people, and the thing that I'm not against anyone unless they're against us, bro. Mm. And when I say us, those of us who's trying to do right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to flex on people and make them feel bad because they got less than me or anything. And I damn sure ain't gonna make you feel better because you got more than me. Because you know, men make money. Money don't make men, bro. You know what I mean? And we got to get back to that. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something, though, Scoon. This is very important to me before we go. has been a rise of the black YouTuber. Now, when I say no, because it's very important. You've seen what I've done over the years. I never dealt with the mud. But every now and again, the muddy hand grabs my leg and tries to pull me in the mud, and I have to get my leg in it, but I won't get my whole body in it. So, unfortunately, the mud does get on me sometimes. The rise of the black YouTuber, good or bad for us?
I think, you know,
the answer.
it's a tough. I'm really stumped, right? But I want to answer this honestly, not politically correct. I think there's a lot of people on YouTube who really don't have shit to say, right? That. However, if people are listening to them, I mean, I guess they might have something to say for those people, right? What I'm about is advancing us, informing us. You know what I do, man? I try to educate us about what's going on politically, economically, business-wise. Unfortunately, not that many of us are really interested in those things. We're more interested in who's a snitch, who's gay,
nigga shit.
Who's you know.
I'm gonna keep saying that because that's all. That's what I classify it as.
You know, and that. I mean, you just take a look at Kwame Brown. 2 years ago, he was all the rage on YouTube, and he had a legitimate, you know, gripe at first with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and the way the NBA treated him, you know. But then it devolved into him doing what everybody else do, attacking people and so on and so forth. And, you know, I used to do a joint with Jason Whitlock, and I kind of had to go my separate ways with Whitlock because one thing with me is that if you help me in any way, right, you may be wrong at some point, or you may do things that I don't agree with, but I would never be the person to call you out on it. I would give you that because you've been helpful to me, right? And I say that to say, with that whole Kwame Brown thing, Kwame was going at Charlemagne. Now, Charlemagne is not a friend of mine. I don't have his number. I've never hung out with him. However, Charlemagne, he interviewed for me with Black, White, and Blue. Then when my guy was running for mayor in Detroit, and my guy is now a city councilman at large, Coleman Young II, he had Coleman come up on the show. And then when I dropped Black, White, and Blue, he had me up there to promote that. He's never asked me for anything. So what would I look like standing next to somebody bad-mouthing that man? Never mind what anybody thinks about Charlemagne personally. I don't agree with his politics or anything, but I'm not going to be the person to get in front of a camera after he's extended himself 3 times to me and bash him.
You know that politic you have. That politic you have is the same politic I have with Nori. A lot of times people want me to bash Nori, but I say, listen, man, that man did something for me, and I know his gamble. I know the buttons he pushed. He put me on national television. And I don't know if people know, my aunt died, my brother died, my sister died. They all got to see one of the babies of the family on TV before they passed.
Wow,
they seen a proud moment, the first person out of a family that made it on television, and this man made it possible. What do I look like going to talk shit about somebody who did, when I can call his phone, because I do have his number, and we do have extensive conversations, but as somebody who's been brotherly to me, that's not for the world. It's not for me to go chastise him in front of the world. So people say you're biased. I say, I think I am biased because that man, listen, before my aunt, because all of them suddenly died. It wasn't long death. It was sudden death. And
back to back,
3 months apart. I swear, we went to one funeral, and then we was at their funeral So by the time my sister passed away, which was the last one, I was like, what the, I couldn't, but they all brag about my little brother, my nephew was on TV. My little brother's on TV. So I'm like, no, Nori was able to instill something in my family that I've been trying to prove. That validated it validated the hooky that I played. It validated me in the studio. It validated all of that because I was able to say, this is why you used to kick my ass when I go into school. This is the end result. So when they be say, oh, Nori, yeah, I know that's your boy, I'd be like, yo, he is. And I'm not going to shit on somebody who put me on the revolt. As much shit I say about Diddy publicly, he still fought for me to be on this channel. But we are a throwback to what we used to be. This new era, man, you could give a man a place to live, give him food, give him clothes, give him a car, give him a woman. He'll say, that nigga Scoon ain't give me shit. I was going to get that anyway. That's just where we at. Continue, bro.
Yo, look, man, yeah, you know, so that with the black YouTubers, man, what I see is, right, I see a lot of dudes who maybe not as old as I am, but they ain't far behind, right? I'll be 59 in a couple months, right? I'm looking at these dudes, and they look to be about 50, 51, 49, somewhere in that vicinity, right? And they too damn old for all the gossiping, for all the everything that they're doing. And I just wish that they would, you know,
clean up.
They would use their influence,
clean up,
to try to steer the youth in a better direction. Imagine being 25, right? Watching somebody who's OG on some social media platform, just arguing and bickering and just all of this nonsense all day. You know, and what I want to demonstrate is that, look, man, you know, like I said earlier in the interview, when we know better, we got to do better. And bragging about, and none of us got clean hands, right? So, but we got to know the difference between what's right and wrong. And you may be doing wrong today, but please have an exit strategy, man. And don't let the exit strategy be prison or the cemetery. You know what I mean?
Or that wheelchair.
Leave on your or that wheelchair. Leave on your own terms, bro. You know, some of us can't help the hand that we was dealt, but you gotta try to figure it out and do better. And for so-called gangster rappers, all right, you was fresh off the porch. You did what you had to do to make some money and all that. But why are you still 45 talking this same shit like this, man? What's really good? Is that the only thing you know how to do? Are you a one-trick pony? Let me tell you something about drugs, right? There was everyone talks about snitching, but do you know drugs is the fuel for all the snitching that's going on? Like the drug trade, it was broken down in the mafia, in the Godfather. Salazzo wanted to bring the dope in, and Don Corleone said, no, you know, they're not going to be able to do the time. This was 1973 or whatever. It was, yo, man, when the drugs came, people were getting so much time. They weren't ready for it. You see, I said I was ready to do 10, right? Damn. They giving out life sentences like it's fucking candy, bro. Yo, man, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so people didn't really think, and the drug sentencing guidelines, the crack laws, and all of these things, it started putting people away, and the snitching started. This is why the prison population exploded.
Some of them are just coming home now.
Yo, bro.
And they going to Vlad.
Look, I got a homie, Basim, aka Shane Fells. He was in the book Queen's Reign Supreme. His mother, Maxine Peterson, was murdered in 1988.
Damn.
She was the mother of 9, and she was holding her youngest baby in her arms when the bullets came through her windows to her house and killed her. Right? He ended up going to prison for multiple life sentences plus 30 years. But he's home now. And do you know why he's home?
Why?
Because, and this is somebody I've known since he was 11 and I was 13, right? I was just with him last week. He's home because he used to call me and ask me to take pictures in the mall to send to him. And I told, because it wasn't even like he wanted to see girls. He wanted to see the world.
Yeah.
He did all his time, 25 of his 27 years, he did in maximum security prisons, right? In the feds, right? And I told him, I said, yo, Quad, check this out. I said, I ain't going to be your pen pal for life, bro. You got to get in the law library. If you're thinking about the outside world that much, you need to start fighting. Get out here. And he did it. And I helped him. And I supported him with it. And when he got his date in 2016, I was in Miami, and he called me. He said, yo, bro, we did it. I said, what we do? He said, I got a date. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he came home 2 years ago. But in any event, man, these things that we glorify and we promote, the older, the elders, because once you get past 45, you're a fucking elder to the hood, bro. You are an elder.
Because OG don't mean original gangster no more. I mean you old.
Yeah,
that's what they calling up, because they calling crackheads OG. Yo, what up, OG? I see some of the little dudes. What up, OG? I'm like, he was always a custody. He wasn't no OG. So I said, OG must have changed now. So that means you old now.
Yo, look, man. After 45, you're pretty much an elder. And for us, speaking for myself, man, being tough has stopped being something that I aspired to be. At this point, either you're tough or you're not. Fine, move on to the next, next box. You know what I'm saying?
What's the end game? What's the end game of toughness?
Yeah. You know, to me, being tough was important when I was 18. You know what I'm saying? Being tough was important when I was 21, 22. At 59, being tough, I mean, how tough am I going to really be at 59? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, so in any event, I think we got to start as we learn how to navigate this life with these unique challenges. Everybody has challenges. White people got challenges, all that. But we as Black people, we have challenges unique to us. And then those of us who come from a certain background, we have even more unique challenges. Once we navigate those challenges, I think we have a duty to pass that knowledge on to younger brothers and show them the way, man. They might be able to take it even further than we did. See, and that's the thing, man. For me, I think that a lot of us just have to be content being unsung heroes. If you want credit for everything, well, that might be the problem right there, man. Maybe you just do your part, man. Just do your part. Pay it forward, man.
So, man, you know me and you could talk for like 4 hours, but we do have to do a part 2 because there's other things that I wanted to get into, but time is not really permitting us. We've been on here for an hour and a half. It don't even seem like it. It gave a lot of information, but you were bevy information, and I implore everybody to subscribe to Scoon TV.
ScoonTV.com.
ScoonTV.com, as well as follow you on the Twitter, which is
at Curtis Scoon and at Scoon TV. I just want to say this: ScoonTV.com is not an entertainment site, right?
Yes.
I pay journalists to write exclusive content from around the world. I got journalists in Africa, in Eastern Europe. I get stuff about the war in Ukraine that you won't read anywhere else. I got people on the ground. I'm looking for correspondents in Asia and all of these things, because what a lot of people don't know is that most of the media that you see and news that you get are controlled, 95% of it are controlled by 5 companies, right? So what we're getting is really propaganda. It's not necessarily the truth. It's a promoted narrative. So I try to circumvent that by getting people on the ground around the world.
Let me give you one deeper though, bro. The news you're seeing now is all AI.
Yo,
that's why well, that's another subject. That's another subject. That's why they're laying off 50,000 people here. Meta is laying off these people because they're not needed anymore. So
and that's in my town hall section, but I also have a news aggregator that collects news from all over the world. And then if you're interested in business and what's going on around the world, Yo, ScoonTV.com is it. I don't like to say it's black owned because it's not just for black people. I want everybody's money. I want everybody's traction.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I think the people I interview run the gamut of Roger Stone, who helped Trump get elected, worked with 4 presidents. I interviewed him for 95 minutes. Mark Lamont Hill, he believes men can get pregnant. I interviewed him.
Nah, all right, yeah, we out. Mark Lamont Hill believes that?
Yes.
Did he start talking about the mitochondria and all that stuff? He used all that on you?
No. We went through the whole thing with him. You know, he stood his ground. You got to check out the interview. I do have the audio on Spotify and Apple. And Duduzane Zuma, who is the son of Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, made his announcement that he's running for president in South Africa on Scoon TV. So that's to give the listeners an idea.
What's the Spotify?
Of what I'm trying to do.
What's the Spotify? What's the Spotify?
It's all on
go to Scoon TV. You can get access to. But again, people, his tweets are every tweet is a movie. So you're going to get different chapters of his thoughts. So I tell y'all to follow him on Twitter at Curtis Scoon. And you're going to just see different things, different topics. He's not one-dimensional. He speaks about various things. He has a website. He has a film company. He also has other things that in part 2 we could get into. He's helped people get elected. He does politics the right way. He does his own films, documentaries. I never seen him kiss no ass.
Mental health.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I do all kinds of stuff,
because they know that's what I really talk to them, mental health. Like I just did a video the other day, stop self-sabotaging yourself. You sometimes could be breaking your own peace. You know, you can be doing it to you. So we're gonna, in part 2, we're gonna bring that back. Me and you have had some great conversations over the past couple of days that was long overdue, and I'm glad to know you because you're definitely a comrade, and I think the world, the people should know you because you are one of the unsung heroes of the culture that we all love, because you're not promoting the trauma and the pain of it and not glorifying the trauma or the pain and not monetizing our trauma and our pain. And that's the thing that always look at people who make money from your bleeding. Because they cut you and then say, I got a Band-Aid for sale. But you never ask, why did you cut me? You know, you never ask that. You know, you buy the Band-Aid. Like, he cut me, but he sold me a Band-Aid, though. And it's like, okay, yeah, at least he sold you a Band-Aid. And it's like, y'all don't get it. So we got some other business to handle. You got some other shows to do. We working on all of that, and you making your rounds. And I appreciate you for being here, bro.
Anytime, Doggie, and I mean that. You got my number, part 2, whenever you want me on.
Because
I'll come on your joint.
Because this information is woo. The community really needs this information, and they want it, but they only want it from certain people. So I'm one of the people that they don't mind me bringing people on to give them information, and they expect it from me. They hold me responsible. I can't even do nigga shit sometimes like everybody else. I can't. They won't allow me.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, they won't allow me. They be like, come on, man, this is beneath you. What are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'll stop. You know what I'm saying? So my audience holds me accountable. And the sad thing about that, bro, the nigga shit is, the views is up, the monetization is up, and the subscribers up. So me trying to, and me having some type of integrity could be to my detriment, but I don't give a fuck. Because ain't no money going to make me sell my MVP, which is morals, values, and principles. Ain't no dollar amount.
That's why people with the MVP got to support each other, if nothing else.
That's why you're here. That's why you're going to be here. And then whatever I could do for you, you know, we gonna make it happen. So
likewise, brother.
Let me sign you out. This was beautiful. This might hold up. I think you're in the running for my favorite interview right now. You definitely in there. But we gonna keep knocking them in the head, man. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you later on.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right. Yes, y'all. That was Curtis Scoon, man. Make sure y'all follow him at Curtis Scoon on Twitter. Also, log on not just one time. See, this is the problem. When we tell you to go to websites, you log on one time. You check it out, then you don't go back. You have to go back daily. Get these people numbers up. And you know, if you drink dirty water, that's on you. I don't tell you to drink dirty water, but if you got an affinity for dirty water, that's on you. But sometimes some people got a good glass of water for you to drink. Drink some clean water sometimes. You know, if you're drinking your liquor all the time, you need some clean water. Some of us are trying to give you some clean water. Take a drink of some clean water. Till next time, peace. Info.